Hello, you're welcome to my channel. Victoria here. Thank you for tuning into this channel. It's a joy to have you. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can make the bralette with a mesh pattern down, as you've seen on the thumbnail. And we are going to start with the bra cap, which I've done. I've done one side, so I'm going to show you how you can make this. I'm using the bulky knitting machine and using this Winter King thread. The one I used on the shorts, it's 4-ply. It's not chunky, however it can work on the chunky knitting machine. So it's between the fingering weight yarn and the chunky machine the chunky thread that I've always used. This one is made in Kenya, or you can use the 2 strands of the small yarn if you want to achieve this. And you have your bulky knitting machine. If you don't have this, you can use the 2 strands, so you'll be able to achieve this pattern. So to begin with, just right at the center, I'll pull up 3 needles because we are going to start with the string, this very string that will be our tie back. So we are starting with the I-cord. I just have to push this button. I have a video for making an I-cord, so you can just check out how I did that. You just push back one of the tack button one side, and then you knit your stitches. So I'm working in intention 4 to create this I-cord, so it's what I also continue to create this whole body. You can do this on the smaller knit. If you have a standard gauge knitting machine, this design is achievable. You just have to know your bra size, your bust, the size of your bra cup. You can also achieve this particular one. You don't have to have a chunky knitting machine to do this. I'm just doing this because it's what I did with the shorts, so I wanted to also create this like I promised. So I'm going to knit 120 rows. I used 3 needles for this I-cord, so I'm going to knit 120 rows. So I'm at 120 rows. I'm going to reduce one stitch, and I remain with only 2. Then remove this tack button. I don't know if you can see that well. Let me adjust my camera a bit. So I've removed this tack button, and I'm going to take back my row counter to 0, 0, 0. Then now we are going to start working on this part down. So I've worked it outward, not up down, but down up. I don't know if it's the right one. Let's just do this. I knit 2 rows and do increases on both sides of needles. That is, you pull one needle both ends, and then knit 4 rows and do an increase. So I do 2 rows, do an increase, do 4 rows, an increase. That's how I'm just doing it. 2 rows, increase by pulling needles both sides, and then 4 rows, you also do the increase. 2 rows, an increase, 4 rows, and increase, 2 rows and increase, 4 rows and increase, 2 rows and increase. So I've reached the width, this width of the size that I want to do. So here mine is just a total of 24 needles. So this is dependent on the size of your bra cup. So this is 24 needles in total. In case it's bigger, you can add on. In case it is smaller, you can just go to the size, because remember this thread that I'm using kind of also stretches, so it depends on the thread you are using and the size of your bra cup. So after this, I'm just going to knit straight up to row counter 60. So here I'll cast off. I've reached 60 rows, so I'm just going to cast off normally. Now after doing this, we are going to work on the bottom part, which has the mesh design, and you will love it. It's also an easy mesh pattern design that you can work in case you have the small knitting machine or the standard gauge knitting machine. You can as well do this, the pattern that we are going to work on, the mesh pattern, on the standard gauge knitting machine or the small knitting machine. It is not exclusive for this chunky one, yes, but because I already did shorts using this particular machine and yarn, I wanted to do a suit, so this came in like this. So I'll just leave a long tail that I'll use to join later. So now I have my 2 bra cups ready. You can see that. Now to work on the bottom part, you need your tape. Where did I throw mine? So given the design of the bralette, the back is going to be a bit open, so you just have to take your tape and measure just a bit behind, like from the front to the back of where you want where your piece fits you well, and you bring it back to the machine. Here I'm doing 22 inches, so at the center where it is leaving, I'll pull out 30 to 31 needles, and I pull them all out at once. I hope you got that. You just need your tape and you take the right measurements. If you're doing this for a client, similar way, just let them have their tape measurements, and then you just transfer to the machine, and then you cast on all the needles that you've pulled out. You cast on using the Iraq method. So here I'll increase my tension to 6 and reduce, take my row counter back to 0, 0. I'll knit 1 row. Now remember the scalped edge we did for the shorts. It's the hemming I'm still going to use here. skip. So I'm doing the sculpt edging, meaning here I'll have to push my button to holding position. That is for passion knitting. And then I'll put back to tension 5, then I'll knit 4 rows. Remove the partial, knitting or the holding, and then knit 1 row. And then put back into holding, again pull out these needles. Because here you can tell which ones they are, so it's easier to just pull them out. And then you knit again 4 rows. Remove the partial knitting button or the holding position and knit 1 row across. Here I'll remove my hanger and then pick up the stitches and feed them back into the ones which you are not working. Let's start with this side. I want to say a big thank you to each one of you that has subscribed and supported my channel. Finally, I've been monetized. Yay! So it's really a big milestone for me, given that this has been my so far my source of income, and being monetized has been really a great achievement for me. What I want to request you is, whenever you see a video popping up in the videos, an ad, whenever there is an ad popping up in the videos, kindly watch the ad. Don't skip it, because in watching that ad, it's a way that I earn a revenue. So don't skip the ads, just watch them. Yes, and in case you like this video or you appreciate about knits, giving me a super thanks would also be nice. Yes, or you can just do a super chat so that your comment is highlighted. In any way, if you want to really support Aboki Knits, there are so many options. So thank you so much for trusting this channel and working with me always. So here, after this, you knit 1 row across, return your row counter to 0 0. So now our next work, we are going to create the mesh pattern. So what we shall do is you transfer a stitch to the next to create a 1 by 1. Create 1 by 1. So you just transfer 1 stitch to the next. You can first try out a swatch before you do the whole thing. You can do a swatch of this pattern so that you know how your thread will come out, how your design will come out. You can try it out before doing the whole thing, and to be easier for you. So it's kind of real, it takes a lot of time, as you can see. So you may need to be doing something as you are working out this pattern, because picking up 1 stitch to the next, if I had a bigger transfer tool, it would make my work easier. But now I have to use this 1 by 1. So So after that, we are going to pull back the needles. And then knit 4 rows. I've increased to tension 6. So after knitting 4 rows, we are going to do the same transfer. So basically this is the pattern. You transfer to 1 by 1, knit 4 rows, transfer 1 by 1, knit 4 rows, transfer to 1 by 1, knit 4 rows, and you'll have your awesome pattern at the end. You know, these beautiful patterns always look good in crochet, but also knitting. Once you give it your good time, you can learn how to knit various patterns, and beautiful ones at that. So let's do this and enjoy knitting. If you have the small knitting machine, this pattern is also doable. You just have to try out on a search like just get some small yarn and knit with it by trying out this pattern. Then you can make it with your project. So after that, I still pull back all the needles into working, knit 4 rows, and continue the same. So you can see I have this pattern coming up. So the length is dependent on your body size as well as the width. So I am going to knit up to 6 inches. So I'm measuring from a dummy, that's why I want to do 6 inches. But this is dependent on your size, the size you want. So I'm going to do this until I reach the number of rows that are equivalent to 6 inches. Really have a long way to go, because so far I am on 2 inches. I have 6 more inches to go. So just go on ahead and do that, and we shall meet when the number of inches that I want have been achieved. All right. So I've reached 6 inches and it has given me 36 rows. So I'm just going to do one row and then cast off. You can do to the length of your rows, the size that you've chosen. You can do longer, you can do shorter. This is so dependent on your measurements, so you don't have to do exactly what I've done. You have to do your own measurements, or in case you're doing it for a client, be sure that you take up the right measurements and you just keep checking with your tape measure to make sure that you choose the right one. So here we are going to cast off. After casting off, I'm going to attach the two bra caps that we had made at the beginning, and then after we shall see how the work is progressing, because we are almost finishing this particular bralette. As simple as that. Look at the pattern that it has formed here. So beautiful. You can make a dress, you can make shorts, you can make anything using this pattern. I mean, it's just so beautiful. It is a beautiful pattern, mesh pattern. I don't know, I may do something with it in one of the projects, maybe using the smaller knitting machine, so that those of you have the smaller knitting machine, can see how it also turns out. Even if you knit it, you will see that it turns out beautifully. So just do that, cast off. I realize that many of you watch my videos and you've not subscribed. Why? Please subscribe to this channel. Give these videos a thumbs up. You can give me a super thanks. Share in your circles. For those of you who share, thank you so much. I appreciate your love. I appreciate the likes. Thank you. It means a lot to me. My voice is trailing off because I'm still having a cough. Though it's healing, yes, I just find my voice trailing off. And I hope you can hear me. So I'll just cut this off, because I'm not going to need a long tail. So look at this pattern. Look at that. Very beautiful. I mean, look at that. The kind of yarn I have stretches out. So these are our bra caps that we are going to attach. Now what you will do is you fold your work into half, and then you get your stitch marker and you just mark at the center so that you can well attach the bra cap. So these are my bra caps. Just going to sew it on. Just pick up my yarn needle. I'm going to use the blind stitch method as usual. So just where I left the tail, and at the center I'll just pick up a stitch this side and a stitch the other side and go along that way. I hope you can see that. just using your your yarn needle and the blind stitch method, you can attach back the bra cap onto the work. You can attach it onto the mesh pattern down right from the middle point. So I'm going to do this, and then after also attach the second one and cut off and do away with these tails. Then I'm going to make another I-cord, a long one that we shall join at the back, and then I'll show you. So what you're going to do is, after attaching these bra caps, make a long I-cord string that we are going to tie at the back, and I'll meet you at that point. So this is how it has turned out to be. Look at this texture, so beautiful. And the attaching of the bra caps. Well, if you feel that this is so revealing too, you can just sew up a few rows with a blind stitch method so that you cover up, but this is how the bralette looks like. And this is the back part. I did the I-cord and then did the zigzag, the crossing with the use of this spacing at the edge. So that's how the bralette looks like. It matches well with the pants. There's already a video for this, so just check out the video before this particular one and you will be able to do this matching attire. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Leave for me this big thumbs up, yes, and I'll be grateful to read and respond to all your comments. Like I said, you can also try it with the smaller gauge knitting machine, the standard gauge knitting machine, which is the small size, and it will still come out very well. See you in my next video. Bye bye.